Welcome to All My Art and Soul Affirmation Art Journaling. I'm Michelle Holden, and this is Affirmation Art Journaling number 2. I am in control of my thoughts, feelings, and choices. I choose to be happy. And when I choose an affirmation, it's all about what I'm feeling that day. I have lists. Sometimes I refer to them. Sometimes I make up my own. Whatever you want to do is fine. And the whole intention is the intention. As you can see here, I have my page ready to go. I prepare it when I last did the last one and have it ready. So I don't have a lot to do. Of course, this is sort of a demonstration video as to how I'm doing it. But as I said in my intro of the little short video, it is a very freeing form of expression, and it's an intuitive process where you're really thinking with your heart, your soul, and you're going inside. It's a very seeking, searching, but just letting go and just letting it all happen. And I have no plan except maybe some stencils I feel like using that day, color palette, whatever I'm really liking. So you might want to select your materials before you sit down, and then you can just respond. It's a wonderful practice. And if you haven't seen my 30-day challenge earlier, it's up on my site, and there's 30 days in a row if you wanted to try that out. And it was really amazing. I am in control of my thoughts, feelings, and choices. So I was thinking very atmospheric, there we go, where I was thinking. I was feeling, and just letting everything happen. I'm working with these colors, so I thought, well, I might as well just keep on working with them for my affirmation art journaling this day. And as you can see, there's some stencils to the side, and you want to just bring stuff around where you're working, and you may or may not even use them. You may or may not even use some of the paints, and I know in my art videos I've done that quite a lot. So making sure your surfaces are dry before you put on the next layer. And this takes a few minutes. I sped this part up. So going dark to light or staying dark and then ending up with white marks with a black background is also really cool. This is the transparent white by Liquitex that I'm using. And I've had some thinking. Leave some comments as to the style of this particular series. I was thinking of not giving instructions like I am to think aloud. I was just going to have music play. You can watch. You can follow along with your own. Just leaving it very open and airy. I almost feel like I shouldn't be talking about my process because it's just, just watching me do it is might be even better. So I'm just going to talk very minimally in this video and let me know what you would like. Talking, minimal talking, maybe no talking at all, just music and just the odd, comment as to what I'm doing, what I'm using, how I'm using it. So I would love to hear your feedback. So this is Teal, golden, the thick what do they call it? Anyway, it's the thicker paint. It's not the fluid. It's the heavy body. Not the extra heavy body, but the regular. And I find when I put my paints on in like a thin coat, they don't take any time at all to dry. With the hairdryer, of course. So I was going for almost like different areas, thirds, fifths, and that's the way I like to work. It seems to turn out that way. And while I'm not trying to think so much, I'm just thinking of layers and feeling and how the layers feel with each other. You know, when they're sitting there all together, how do they relate? And I'm choosing this time, this round, to actually have the affirmation showing on the top. This is a wonderful stencil girl stencil. It's the larger one. I think it's, what is it? If that's 8. Oh, I think it's around 14. It fits perfectly on, and I think it might be 8 by 10, if not a little larger. So I'm just using some sponges, and I'm really liking the clean edges that the sponge makes. And of course, I never like to go over the whole stencil. I just like to just use sections of it, especially that part with those lines, how they curve. And then I like to echo the same shapes in a different way on a piece of collage. And I like that play with repetition, but it's not quite the same. I myself like to put some weight on the bottom. It just gives it that nice weight. And then using the X-Acto knife. So if any of you like this series, please leave a comment. And if you've not checked out, like I said, my other 30-day challenge of affirmation art journaling, it was, I think, really, really amazing to do one every day in the morning. And I know everybody has a nice different time. Mostly I'm in the evening because it's quiet, everybody's gone to bed, and I can just have my own time and space. What's your favorite time to do your practice where you can just, I think all my pages are anywhere from 30 minutes to 40, 45 minutes. None of them really take more than an hour. And I could even shorten it up a bit, which would also, I didn't want to force anything for these, but it really helps you just, okay, I only have 30 minutes, just respond. And of course, you need to get everything ready that you feel like working with that day. So I love those lines, but there's too much space between them. It's too light, and this is what I've been looking for. This is my deli paper, very transparent. Any kind of transparent paper can work, and it's just about the marks that you make on them. And I heard a lot of people in my Facebook group, if you haven't joined or checked it out at least, please do. A lot of goals this year are to do it more often, daily, and in an authentic way. So that's probably what I should have spoke about, and I will be in the comments and in my narration here, in my voiceovers. Finding your authentic voice in art, in your art, this is a really good way, where you're just responding, you're doing it, you're showing up, almost every day or at least a few times a week, and you just start. And I remember, and I've said this before in other videos, it was very difficult when you don't even know where to start. And just think of one layer at a time. Start with a layer of marks, then paint, and there's no right or wrong way here. It's the only way you'll discover what works, what doesn't work, what feels right, what doesn't feel right to you. And when you play around with marks and have a couple of different sketchbooks or mixed media books, journals, you can use them in different ways. I've got affirmation art journaling, I've got my abstract, my mixed media exploration, color. I've got quite a few for different purposes, and I really like that because it keeps things organized. And that was another comment. Keeping my art journal supplies organized. I have a bit of a mess over on my table, but I was thinking while I was finding time to do that, there might be some tips that I might have or anyone else. What do you store them in? And it's really saving space. And I love the negative shapes. Negative shapes, if you have a bunch of these shapes, save them. You might not know what to do with them right away, but you might just want to save those in, I use Ziplocs, and then I go by color. And then when I'm looking for blues, greens, or whatever, I just grab that Ziploc, look inside, and I can really find what I'm looking for pretty quickly. So, and I love how this wasn't quite wide enough. There was that little gap. And it's just the imperfectionism. I don't even know if that's a real word, but whatever. It's always funny when it's late when I'm doing my voiceovers. It's I just I just hit it once. I know what I've felt and create, but I don't do a big rehearsal. I just go for it, and whatever's on my mind about this particular piece, that's what I'm speaking about. So this was Liquitex fluid, and it wasn't black. It was this, it's a metallic. It's a charcoal metallic, and I love using my clay tools because they're smooth on the paper to write the affirmation in that way. And if you stay to the end, it doesn't quite stay this way, but now that I see it again, I could have left it this way. It's really cool. Contrast, dark on the top, or light and then dark on the bottom, whatever way you want to go. That's probably what I'm saying there. And to make my life easier, I don't know if it would make it easier, doing one of these live, so I don't have to go through all of this editing process and voiceovers, and it would probably be pretty fun. So I'm planning on doing some lives in my Facebook group, so if you haven't joined yet, be sure to hop on over, and there's lots of sharing going on, and we are over 650 members, so it's pretty cool. And also don't forget to join my mailing list, because 2023, I promise to write some more emails and blogs on my website about me, about my art, about whatever. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah, it just needed this dark on the top. And then what you might do, if you're not quite happy with that, you can bring it down. You can, just play around with it. And if you really don't like it, let it dry and then cover it up. You can cover it up with an opaque layer, of paint, go light, go dark, even use a piece of collage. I've done that several times. So check out my other videos. I love this transparent paper. It has a little bit of gold on it, and it's probably some wrapping paper that I've saved, and I'm slowly whittling away on those strips of, I think they're feathers or something, the shape. Now that piece would have worked actually, but I was planning on putting the writing in there, and I think that's why I left it. So I wanted it to remain rather darker because I knew I wanted to come in with a white Posca marker. Okay, loving this piece, this stencil. Also a stencil girl, just because it has the positive and the negative of the shapes, similar shapes on the same stencil with those circles, those organic circles in the middle. That's why I like that one. And of course a turquoise, yellow oxide, darks. You can see the different temperature between the metallic charcoal and the black that I started out with. But I'm starting to get happier with the layering. And of course this one, I'm just letting it all happen. And there's a little more green on this one if you noticed. Starting to like green more. So, and finally, my new Posca markers are working without leaking. And I just started writing, I am happy, even though it wasn't really the exact words. It doesn't matter. Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Repetition of affirmations and for your brain, just rewiring your brain is an amazing, amazing way to connect you to positive thoughts, because we have so many negative thoughts throughout the day. I think it's somewhere up in the 90,000 or something. If we could just switch a few of them, it would be incredible. So I decided I don't like those words. They're too out in the open. So I thought, okay, I'll just put a thin layer over those. And of course, I choose to be happy. Now I'm looking for a very thin strip of, okay, that's cool, but I don't think I did that. Maybe I'll let it dry, but I came in with a strip of very thin, there it is, deli paper. Okay. Who doesn't want to choose to be happy? And it's up to us to choose. Okay, really liking this, and I love how it soaks up. Oh, there I go, and I tore it. Well, well. So I think I come in with another slice. Thank goodness there's lots of that. So I push down too much of an angle with the metal piece of the brush, so it caught that paper. So really liking a simple palette. And if you're unsure of color, that's the way to go. And you can also do a little bit of research on Pinterest and a good way to do it is when you're looking at, I just look at abstract art and abstract artists with like a simple palette and think and ask the question, why is it so striking? So it's, and then you can just see what colors, do some research, keep it very simple, and try them with your own marks, collage, and layering. And that's what I've done, and that's just one way. But I've done a lot of exploring and still getting used to those color shapers, as you can see. And I still really like the brayer for a subtle lifting. It's really, really a good tool. So using the fingers, doing some symmetrical patterning here. And yeah, didn't work. I finally realized that, okay, maybe I just need a mark. It just needed this alignment. That's another thing. Aligning ourselves with everything. It's almost the same, I guess, as balancing. So I'm just trying to search out this piece that needs to go there. And it's to the same as to the one at the bottom. And I finally end up with a beautiful teal circle. Yes. And I like to use the rule, when it's a yes, it stays there. And it looks good past 3 seconds, it's going to stay there. Okay. So we're coming to the final little details, except for the writing of the affirmation on the page. So where do you think it should go before I do it? Of course, I didn't want to do it at the top because I already did one, but it's going to go somewhere near the middle. And right across. And I liked it here because there was enough contrast without it popping out so much. So I didn't want total black and white contrast, and then that's all you would see. So I like it sort of hiding in there somewhere like that. And I choose to be happy. I am in control of my thoughts, feelings, and choices. I choose to be happy. And of course, my small dots just had to go around the circumference of this circle here. Yeah, and those lines are really subtle. I really like subtlety in my work. And, oh yeah. So I did one, and then I thought, wow, these are really looking great here. So I think I did 7. I was always an odd number. At least that's what I like to use. Okay, oh yes, we're preparing the brush for the last bit of sprinkling, and I have trouble with it. Should have let that black totally dry, but no big deal because there's some subtlety in there. So, right, that was the transparent paint, and it's not really working. So you need a heavier body paint, at least I think, which is more opaque, with water, and then they really show up. Oh, I'm trying a different brush here, not my usual. So you can get different size dots just to make an interesting effect, the cosmos or whatever. I just love that. It just needed it, so I did it. And I'm really liking, you can't really see, or you can see a little bit, I choose to be happy is just hiding under that thin layer of collage paper. Yeah, so just not overdoing it. So wiping down anything. And I'm going to come in with some finer ones with this brush. Ooh, it seems to splash them in a really a better direction. So you can point which way, you can predict a little bit. All right. Okay, so now we are heating up the tape for the big reveal, and it always looks so much nicer with those clean edges. And I'm just going to do a few times. Under the tape, along the edges, I use a gloss gel medium, not the heavy body, just the regular one, and let it dry thoroughly. Oh, and then if I'm running, if time is of the essence, I use the hair dryer, and the tape comes off way easier most of the time. And I'm realizing I need 2 at the bottom if I want a nice clean edge. So I'm just numbering these, and the title for each page is going to be the affirmation. And I think at some point I will be putting them up, and they will be a design in some way or another. And I hope you enjoyed affirmation number 2, and I will see you in the next video.